Oh, Ed Harris, you never let me down. Westworld time, and this time we've got episode 4, The Riddle of the Sphinx, and I like this a lot. It's funny, normally I try and get my recordings done like right after I watch it. In this case, I was dead tired after I watched it, so I actually slept on it. I'm recording this the next day, and I'm really glad for that because the more I thought about it, the more I like this thing. Yeah, boy, where do we even start? Okay, so despite the fact that I had thought initially we were just getting straightforward flashbacks again, we're still getting some interesting little ins and outs and bendings of time and flashbacks and things between the stuff that we get with William, which is what I'll use to term the younger version of the Man in Black, and the adult version, the Man in Black, and Jim, the guy who ran the company that he effectively took over. And then again with some of the flashes of Bernard and him trying to piece together what's going on. I really like that revelation. Well, I'll back up. Elsie being alive is weird to me. Like, I honestly didn't know what to feel about that because I remember liking her and feeling kind of bad that she got, I thought, killed off in the first season. Yet I didn't feel anything when it was revealed she's actually alive, so I honestly don't know what to make of that, but I do like a lot of what came out of it. She is being played well. Her reactions are, they feel genuine, they feel earned, and so we've got Bernard, and I love what she says to him, which is that your mind isn't distinguishing your memories properly. You're remembering stuff, but not the order of them. You can remember that this was a thing that happened or that you saw, but you won't know if this happened before this or this. And I forget the exact word she used. She said it way more succinctly than I just did. But I love that as a new device and a new way for the show to mess around with time and narrative a little bit, which is just, yeah, I dig that. I love the Man in Black and Lawrence. I mean, I loved them together last season when they were almost entirely semi-antagonistic towards each other. Now that it feels like there's really becoming a bond between them. Mostly when I say that, I mean Lawrence towards the Man in Black, because I feel like the Man in Black had an affection towards him, a kind of a weird, twisted affection towards him, even previous to this. But he was a guy who kept getting killed and reset, and so. While Ed Harris, as the Man in Black, might have some affection towards him, this guy's a blank slate every single time he runs into him. So seeing that play out, I think it's good that we sort of dealt with the loose end of the guys that Dolores had double crossed, because I'm not sure there was anything interesting to be milked out of them. So that said, I do think that a couple episodes ago it was a good thing that Teddy let them go, because I am hoping we'll get some interesting stuff milked out of that. But actually dealing with him as a character who's still alive, let's clear him off the board. They did, and in a very entertaining way. Felt good, felt cathartic. Boom. Love it. So it's funny with William in the first season, he was one of the weaker elements, but honestly it was only because until almost the end of the first season you didn't know why he was there. You didn't know why he was included. We just kept going back to him and go, why are we going to this less interesting young guy over and over again? And then by the end you realize, and now every time we see him as a younger man, we know who he is, we know who he becomes, and it makes him immediately more interesting to watch. And I'm not checking the time going, oh, this guy again. I'm going, ooh, what more are we going to learn about him? And we get, I think, a really fascinating new wrinkle with this whole thing with Jim and this host that they very clearly tried to put a dead person's mind in a functional way into a host body. That's new. I mean, we had elements of living people put into characters, most notably with elements of Arnold being put into Bernard. But Bernard is not a literal recreation of Arnold. He's not everything that Arnold was, and he doesn't believe himself to be Arnold. Jim that's what they're trying to do. And it's funny because I figured out that that's what was going on almost immediately. Like as soon as William handed him that piece of paper, I'm like, that's got the conversation they're having right now on it. And the show wouldn't confirm that for a little bit, but I still like how that panned out. Because what I like about this is it's the kind of twist that on paper I usually hate, because usually when this kind of twist is done, it ends up, somehow rewriting what came before. It usually is played as, and this is what was really going on the whole time, which often means that whatever we were shown before, we might as well have not had any investment in, because it wasn't what we thought. It was something else that we're only now starting to understand. So you feel like you just wasted however long before this revelation came on. This is not that, though. And the reason is that in this case, this revelation that they're trying to do this with the hosts in no way undercuts, subverts, or diminishes what we have seen hosts like Dolores, Maeve, and all these other, and Clementine, all these other characters going through. Their journey, their change, their growth is all still valid. This is something else happening in addition to it. So it does go, oh, forget everything you knew. It's really this. Instead, it's, yeah, there's all that stuff you knew. There's also this. This is going on too, which is, it's great. Because like I said, this kind of big revelation usually derails these narratives, at least for me. But it doesn't here. And it really makes me interested. And then, God, the flashes of Bernard. And it's weird because Jeffrey Wright is so sympathetic and has been in this part the entire time he's playing it. But the look on his face, stepping on that guy's head, I'm like, oh! Okay, and I'm really curious to see how this pans out and plays out, and I'm not entirely sure that I have my head wrapped around exactly what I saw, but man, I'm fascinated by it. Like, I want to know how that, like, time, where that happened, where the timing on that is. Was that something that happened very recently? Because it certainly looks like that, but was it a while ago? Was there a reset between then and now? Like, what is this? What happened? I'm excited to find out. We've got little hints that they might be doing what I need them to do with the Ghost Nation, which is to give them some depth. We've got at the very least some hints to that. Because we have one of the guests saying how, she turns out she knows their language, more or less. And she makes a comment about how no one ever pays attention to their narratives. And I'm really hoping that that's going to go somewhere. And because it was also pointed out that they weren't killing guests, they were killing other hosts. So I'm really looking forward to see what other details we get about them. Because I mentioned before I needed something else. Because right now they were kind of really, really one-sided, really generic. And I'm just like, everything in this episode is stuff that works viscerally and or sets up stuff that I'm like, yeah, give me more of that, please. So, yeah. I like this episode a lot. And I almost never talk about this, the next time on stuff. But Maeve, we had no Maeve this episode, which, Maeve's awesome, but we're getting Maeve next time. It looks like it's going to be so much Maeve and samurais and yeah, I'll take it. So, yeah, Riddle of the Sphinx. I like it a lot. I'm kind of giddy on it. Yeah. You folks seen it? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I can be supported on Patreon if you want to try and help make the show better, if that is even possible. Because it's already perfect. No, I mean more like, how much better can I be? Boy, I'm underselling it. Now no one's going to want to support me. Yeah, I got to stop talking like that. So there's also Twitter, and I have a podcast, and t-shirts are for sale, etc., etc., etc. Links for all that stuff down in the description. So until next time, this council's adjourned.